Hello, it's time for Combat Patrol Carnage. We're back with issue 6 and today we've got our lore articles to read. So we've got quite a few, mostly focusing on Tyranids, but we do have a page or two for the Imperium. And of course we've got our collect article where we name our unit. So I'll be picking out my naming chart from issue 2 to do that. Don't forget, Combat Patrol Carnage is proudly sponsored by warbay.shop, your one-stop supply for all your hobby needs. They've just recently increased their catalogue, so do check them out. There's loads of items for various different game systems. They also now stock scenic materials. There'll be a link in the video description for you, so check them out. Right, let's head over to the table. We'll do some reading and of course naming. Back then with issue 6, so we've got our Barbgaunts here all painted up to the current magazine standard, so Wraithbone with Barracknard Burgundy on the carapace, and I must admit I'm starting to really like Barracknard Burgundy on the Tyranids. A couple of layers gives a really nice deep rich purple, and yeah, okay, I can definitely see this paint growing on me, and I might even use it on some of my other armies. So we'll put those to one side as now we have a bit of reading to do. So I'll just adjust the camera quickly and we'll get on and read our new lore articles. So here we are then. Let's flip open, so past our build and paint guides, which have fallen out. So on to our first article. So we have the Emperor of Mankind. The Emperor is the most powerful Psyker to have ever lived. His presence is a light that guides ships through the darkness of the warp, and he is worshipped as a god across the Imperium. It is better to die for the Emperor than to live for yourself. Pilgrims on Shrine World take part in a ritual parade bearing banners depicting the Emperor. The Emperor is an almost mythical figure in the Imperium. His power can be felt everywhere, from the beacon of psychic energy that guides ships through the warp to strange miracles experienced by his most zealot followers, to his greatest creation, the Space Marines. Imperial citizens worship the Emperor without question. Even in the heat of battle, they pray to him for guidance. To defy the will of the Emperor is to commit heresy, for which the sentence is death. The Golden Throne. The people of the Imperium think the Emperor is eternal and immortal. The truth is far darker. The Emperor is a mere husk kept alive by the techno-arcane artifact known as the Golden Throne. Every day 1,000 Psykers must be sacrificed and their power consumed by the Emperor to keep him alive. The Emperor's body can never leave the Golden Throne, for it is all that keeps him alive. Beyond the Emperor's reach lies only darkness and despair. The Emperor may be powerful, but he is a shadow of his former self. Betrayed millennia ago in a great war against chaos, he is now all but dead. What little life remains in the Emperor's shattered form is preserved by the Golden Throne, a colossal artifact that feeds strange chemicals and the life force of sacrificed Psykers directly into the Emperor. The Master of Mankind hangs on the brink of death. Few truly understand how the Golden Throne works, and were it to falter, the Emperor would perish. If this was to happen, the Imperium would be plunged into darkness, warp travel would be made impossible, and each of the million worlds of the Imperium would fall to a tide of mutants, heretics, and demons from the very depths of the realm of chaos. So, quick break from my novice approach. I'm a firm believer of the theory that the Golden Throne is a lie and that the Emperor will only be reborn when he fully dies, as I believe, he's a perpetual, which is a being that can't die. When he does die, he is simply reborn. And there's a lot of theories going out I won't go into that too much, as I don't want to turn this into a theory video, but I do believe that the Emperor will return to us upon his death. A death dealt him by a certain heretic Dark Angel known only as Cypher. Moving on, we start learning a bit more about the Tyranid Hive Fleets. Hive Fleets, terrors of the stars. There is no known Tyranid homeworld, only vast predatory fleets of biological warships that reach into the galaxy like the tendrils of a great kraken. These are the Hive Fleets, the spearheads of the Tyranid invasion. The great bio vessels of a Hive Fleet tear Imperial ships to pieces above their next prey world. Each Hive Fleet consists of countless biological warships, each a vast living organism that is capable of traversing the inhospitable void of space. The Hive Fleets are highly adaptable, and each has developed its own unique biological weapons and specialized ways of waging war. The Tyranids of Hive Fleet Gorgon, for example, use genetic toxins to kill any enemy, while organisms from Hive Fleet Tiamat are particularly psychically potent. Hive Fleets roam the galaxy in search of biomass. Anything in their way is consumed, and its biomass is used to create more Tyranid beasts as the fleet continues its expansion. Hive Fleets have even been known to battle one another on occasion. This strengthens the hive mind by allowing it to test new adaptations in battle against itself. The victor will then absorb the biomass and best traits of its foe, using them in future battles to great effect. So, yeah, definitely don't want to meet a Tyranid on a prey world. Yeah, if you are a Tyranid, you don't really want to meet a Tyranid either, as you might end up being eaten by your fellow Tyranids. Hello there, fellow Tyranids. I too like to digest biomass. Now we have a look at some of the individual Hive Fleets. So we start with the collections Hive Fleet Leviathan. Hive Fleet Leviathan is the largest of the Hive Fleets. The psychic network that links the bioforms in this Hive Fleet together is incredibly strong, allowing them to fight with preternatural coordination and cunning. Hive Fleet Leviathan constantly adapts its strategies to most effectively slay and devour its unfortunate victims. Behemoth. Hive Fleet Behemoth is notorious for its brutal tactics. Any face to this Hive Fleet must weather wave upon wave of clawed hunters. Behemoth then finishes the exhausted defenders with a crushing assault from the largest Tyranid bioforms. Not even death can stop Hive Fleet Behemoth's greatest beasts. When slain, they collapse into death throes, slashing and tearing at anybody nearby. And finally, my favourite Hive Fleet Kraken. Hive Fleet Kraken is notorious for its use of devious tactics. Even by the standards of Tyranids, they are masters of ambushes. Unexpected strikes and flanking maneuvers, even a momentary weakness can prove fatal when fighting this Hive Fleet, for it will dispatch rapid response troops to exploit any gap in an enemy's defences that it can find. And we see here on a Space Hulk, loads of Hive Fleet Kraken G-Stealers charging down some Ultramarine Terminators. Really cool. Finally then, before our collect article, we have the page of information about the First Tyrannic War. This is the Imperium's first encounter, well, second technically, encounter with the Tyranids. Ultramarines plunge into the heart of the Tyranid swarm during the First Tyrannic War. For millennia, the Imperium was beset on all sides. It was thought humanity's fate could grow no darker. The First Tyrannic War proved this to be untrue. It was here that the Imperium first encountered the true scale of the Tyranid swarm in a conflict that saw the Ultramarines brought to the brink of destruction. The Tyranids have been a mysterious and deadly opponent since their very first contact with the Imperium at the Battle of Tyran. Striking from seemingly nowhere, the first Tyranid invasion fleets tore through Imperial space unhindered, leaving barren, broken worlds in their wake. Planet after planet fell, with the Imperium unable to stop this new threat. The Tyranids were finally halted at the Battle for Macragge, a planet-spanning conflict on the Ultramarines' homeworld that almost saw the chapter destroyed. However, this was not the end of the Tyranids or the Tyrannic Wars. It took years for Macragge and the Ultramarines to recover from the carnage wrought by the Tyranids. Meanwhile, splinter fleets and remnants of Hive Fleet Behemoth, the invasion fleet that first attacked Tyran, can still be found across the galaxy. The First Tyrannic War was just a precursor of the horrors to come. So this is the awesome artwork from the 4th edition starter set known as The Battle for Macragge, which saw 10 Ultramarines fight to save a crashed Imperial pilot with his Tyranid genetic material from an ever-increasing horde of Tyranids, including Termagants and Gene Stealers, plus the first plastic spore mines. So yeah, introduce the modern version of the Tyranids, which is pretty cool. Speaking of the Battle for Macragge, here we have an excerpt. The Battle for Macragge was a bold manoeuvre by the Imperium that ended the First Tyrannic War. Pre-warned of the oncoming swarm, the Ultramarines, along with starships of the Imperial Navy and battle titans of the Adeptus Mechanicus, prepared a desperate defence. As the Tyranid bioships battled the Imperium above Macragge, Ultramarines, Space Marines on the surface fought for survival below. The most courageous actions were taken by the First Company, who, with a mere handful of soldiers, held the planet's polar fortresses against a seemingly endless tide of Tyranids. In the end they fell, but in the process saved their world from being overwhelmed. It would be centuries before the Ultramarines truly recovered. So yeah, the First Company wiped out to a man at the Battle for Macragge, a sacrifice that was indeed well worth it as it stopped the first onslaught from the Tyranids. Here we have, I believe, a codex cover from 3rd or 4th edition Space Marines. I think 4th. Yeah, pretty cool. We see Calgar with a bunch of Ultramarine Honor Guard there fighting off against a Tyranid swarm. Maneus Calgar leads his Honor Guard in a fierce defense against Hive Fleet Behemoth. Behold, the Swarm Lord. The Battle for Macragge was the first time the Swarm Lord was recorded amongst the Tyranid forces. The Swarm Lord is a warrior organism without compare, but its great strength is its sinister alien genius. At the head of the swarms on Macragge, the Swarm Lord was able to outthink even the legendary Maneus Calgar, and launch devastating feints, counterattacks, and flanking maneuvers. Don't worry, he'd get his revenge on a Swarm Lord at the Second Tyrannic War, which we will learn about, I believe, in issue 8. Right, now we got to name our Barbgaunts, so for that I need issue 2. So I'm going to grab that and my pen. I'll be right back. Right, I'm back. Dice, pen, and of course issue 2 for the table in hand. So we've got a little bit of reading first about the Barbgaunts. Barbgaunts are akin to living gun turrets. Symbiotically linked to the huge barb launchers, these creeping horrors provide fire support for the Tyranid swarm. They launch explosive spines at their foes, which detonate into blizzards of bone shards, leaving even Space Marines disorientated and reeling. Background table. The hive mind constantly tailors its swarms to be better killers. Use this table to discover any special traits your unit of Barbgaunts have, or choose the one that you like the best. Before we roll on that, let's roll on our name table. So we got 2 parts to roll on. So part 1 is 1, followed by 4, the silent. Ooh. And then naming part 2, we got 6. Come on, 2. The silent hunters would be nice. No, 5. The silent enemy. Much more name for a stealth unit, but it's what we got. So we'll have to go with it. Thank you, issue 2. Now we can roll on the result for their modification. We get a 1. So the barb launchers hosted by these Barbgaunts regrow ammunition at a horrifying rate. So they got a bit more ammo than they normally get. Pretty cool. So deeds. Remember to mark off these deeds when you complete them as you take your models through assembly, painting and gaming. Well, we can tick off build as we built them, and we've painted them kind of, so we'll take that off as well. and we'll be playing with them in the next video. So that's it. On the other side, we have, of course, our datasheet for the Barbgaunts. So they have ranged weapons, which are very similar to the Pyre Blasters. They have D6 shots, but you do need to hit with them as they have a ballistic skill of 4+. They are strength 5, no AP, and a single damage. They also have some keywords called Blast and Heavy. We'll learn about those in future issues. And they have a special ability that allows them to reduce the opponent's movement, and this is what really hindered me in my first ever game of 10th edition from the Leviathan box set. And they have chitinous claws and teeth, of course, for a melee weapon. But that's it for our read articles. Up next we have Live Fire Operation, our brand new game. So there we go. Bring everything back in. Don't fall over. But there you have it. That was a read article and video 2 for issue 6. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Some nice information there. Do you have your own theories about the Emperor? Or do you, like me, believe that he will come back to life once he truly dies? Yeah, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to like the video as it helps get the channel noticed and helps me create better content for you lot. A big thank you to everyone for watching and to warbay.shop for sponsoring the series. So, I'll see you all next time on Combat Patrol Carnage. Goodbye.